Everybody, it's Michael here from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video review. Today we're looking at an airsoft pistol from Umarex. This is the Umarex Enforcer CO2 Airsoft pistol. Now this is a non-blowback, mostly plastic constructed gun. It uses standard 12 gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 6mm plastic airsoft BBs and has a 4.25 inch non-rifled steel barrel. You're going to find a dropout metal stick-styled magazine that holds 15 rounds. And by the way, it uses the same magazine as the Beretta Elite 2, which again is in a few other guns too. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's a few guns that share this magazine, which makes it easier to get these magazines. But let's say you already had a Beretta Elite 2. Well, now you basically have a couple magazines that you can use in any gun you want. Now because it's plastic, it doesn't weigh in too heavy. It's about 0.9 pounds or 400 grams. It shoots in double action only because it's non-blowback, has a double action trigger, and shoots up to 400 FPS. Now, one thing I did want to mention, this is the Enforcer, but in the steel BB version, which looks pretty much identical to this without the orange tip, it's called the XBG. So Enforcer in Airsoft, XBG in steel BB. That way you know which is which. But if you look at them, they look identical. And back when I reviewed the XBG, I didn't realize that it was kind of a replica of a real steel version of a gun. It's not branded or licensed as such, but it does look a whole ton like the XDM 9mm 3.8 compact. So some people brought that to my attention. There's always somebody out there who knows more than I do. There's probably a lot of people out there who know more than I do, and they will correct me when I'm not up to speed. And I don't mind. It's good to know, right? Alright, let's take a look at the plastic wrap here. It comes in this clamshell case, nothing too fancy, alright? So there's the Enforcer name, 400 FPS, semi-automatic 15 round dropout magazine. Don't worry about that, that's just some advertising for something else inside. Alright, so you can see you got the accessory rail. It's the Combat Zone brand, right? And not too much going on in the back here. It's all kind of the same. Alright, here we go. Combat Zone Enforcer. Right, we'll take a look at the back. Right, all the same stuff pretty much. 12 gram CO2, has the length 7 inches, the weight 0.95 pounds. I said 0.9, so we've got a little bit extra weight there. And you know, of course, you go inside here, you're going to have all kinds of information about aiming, loading, and load CO2, how to load different things, right? How to clean it even, that's kind of nice. How to clean it. Safety, right? Okay, so pretty good. Should get you going. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to take a quick look. We'll do a walk around, get it nice and tight so you can see this gun up close and personal. Okay, so there's the branding and licensing. Not really licensing. Alright. Umarex. There's your magazine release. Okay, you can see it kind of comes out. It looks like a butt plate, but then this magazine pops out of there. And you can see here, if you're familiar with some of the other magazines that it's used in other guns, it's the same thing, okay? Right, you got your follower loaded up with ammunition, right? And then you release the follower by just clicking that in the bottom, and you're ready to go. CO2, which is kind of nice, just this pops off, and it's like a lever, so you're not going to lose this door. Sometimes when these doors come right off, you know, I get a little worried. What if it were to fall off in the field or something? You know, you're going to lose it. This is nice. It's not going anywhere. Then you have the CO2 tab on the bottom, right, for tightening the CO2. CO2 obviously just goes in there. You back this off and then just tighten it up, right? Pretty straightforward. Close it up when you're done. Okay, we've got some sort of stuff going on in the back. Just regular sight in the back, but on the front we have a white dot, which is nice. The ejection port is just molded in. Everything's pretty much molded into this gun, with the exception of the safety and obviously the trigger. And you can see here, it's one of these type where the barrel comes forward and then hammers back in. It's almost like a barrel slash hammer. It kind of does both, right? And I do like the CO2, or the screws to put the two sides of this gun, are very discreet. You can see we've got one here, we've got one here. I don't know if there's another one somewhere, but it's nice because sometimes they've got these big screws on one side and it makes the gun not look so good. These ones are quite discreet. On this side you're not going to have any. Okay, Okay, so that's molded in. It's a slide catch release. It's all molded in. Everything's molded in, right? So don't think this gun's fancy. It's a real basic design, but it works. You know, a little bit heavier trigger, a little longer pull. You're not going to be the fastest shooter out there in terms of follow-up shots, but it gets the job done. Alright, let's talk about some of the pros and the cons. Pretty basic gun, so it's not going to set you back too much at the bank. You're looking at about $50 for this gun, so you know, if you're looking for an inexpensive gun that looks pretty cool, gets the job done, going to be efficient on CO2 because it doesn't have fancy blowback operation. It's going to probably shoot pretty good, nice around 400 FPS, so you're going to have high velocity and lots of shots per CO2. Has that universal metal stick magazine that works in a bunch of guns. It's kind of nice. You can mix and match if you need to. If you have the other guns and you got extra mags. That CO2 tab's really well hidden. And it also has the rails for adding accessories like a laser or tack light. Again, those construction screws are really small, so they're not too obvious. They don't take away from the look of the gun. And it's that tried and true design that works well and is reliable. Guns with a lot more moving parts, blowback operation, there's more things that can go wrong, right? So you can buy a gun like this, it's probably going to last a little bit longer. You're going to have less issues with it. Again, I like that swing up CO2 door. It's not going to get lost or fall off somewhere while you're playing a game. And it just makes it easier to load CO2. Alright, some cons, pretty much all plastic guns. Some people don't care about that, but some people do. Some people like that heavy metal feel. Again, there's not a lot of actual working parts because everything's molded in. All you're going to find is the trigger, the magazine release, and the safety. Everything else is just molded in and pretty much one piece on this gun. That double action trigger, it's a bit long, it's a bit heavy. If you want to get really quick follow-up shots, it's not going to happen. It's going to wear that finger down pretty quick. But there are worse guns out there, I can tell you. There's a lot of heavier triggers out there. It's not the worst by far. And as with most inexpensive BB or airsoft pistols, there's no adjustable sights on this gun. That's pretty common unless you get into some higher price guns. And there isn't any hop-up as far as I know, so there's not going to be any hop-up adjustment either. So hopefully it shoots straight for you. So if not, you're just going to have to adjust your aim point when you shoot it. Now last, I just want to mention, this gun is available in our Canada and our US Replica Airguns store over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. So I'll put links in the description of this video for you to buy them in either Canada or the US. I'll also put a link to the written post where I'll have additional photos and a whole write-up for this gun over at replicaairguns.com, so check that out too. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Until next time, take care.